Did I say I was with Heather Zumwalt, Johnny Cash fan?
Yes.
Ring of Fire.
Today
Is your life a ring of fire today?
Always.
Always.
It is just a circling ring rolling down the circus.
Well, welcome to the Bible Joe, which is a podcast celebrating work that's not typical ministry work, but yet there's a ministry part to it. And Heather, what would you describe yourself as, a horse trainer, a people trainer, or what? I'll let you say. What are you? What are you, Heather?
To what most people would understand, I train horses.
Okay.
I sarcastically have this line that when I introduce my business and they go, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I yell at children and wrestle 1,200-pound animals for a living. Take that for what you will.
Which one's harder?
Ooh, definitely wrangling the children. Yes.
Okay, tell me about yourself. What's your whole story? What's your family story?
Born and raised in Central Oregon.
Okay.
Still live here. I live out in Alfalfa now.
Nice.
Which I love.
It's beautiful there.
So peaceful. Like when the wind's not blowing.
Well, it's less windy there than Powell, Butte.
It's debatable.
I think.
Debatable.
Okay.
Yeah, we are like in the open. There is no windbreak, but it's okay. We find peace in it.
Yeah.
Married, my very patient husband, Sean.
He's patient?
He is patient.
Awesome.
You have to be around me.
Okay.
We have a 17-year-old daughter. She's a senior at Mountain View.
You have a 17-year-old daughter?
I do.
Wow.
I do. She's getting ready to graduate.
Wow.
And flee the nest. And
See, I thought you were like 19.
Yeah, no, not quite.
Okay.
And then we have a 7-year-old son.
Okay.
He's a first grader at Eastmont.
Wow.
He keeps us running. He's part of the fire.
Oh, he's
that
the ring of fire.
Keeps going. Yes.
Oh, awesome. Two kids, a boy and a girl.
Boy and a girl. They're complete opposites.
Yeah. That's good.
But we enjoy them. So yeah.
So what do you and your husband do for fun?
We live on 20 acres.
You don't have fun.
Don't really, yeah. In a 100-year-old home on 20
good.
acres.
So you fix up a house.
So he's learning a lot, and
Yeah.
the church has helped us learn a lot. And
Oh, good.
yeah. So for fun, we go on date night
Good.
and take that time. And
Where do you go?
Have us usually just to dinner to sit and have a quiet meal.
There are some great places to eat around here.
Yes, there are.
Ugh.
I am not an adventurous eater, so we kind of go.
You don't go to fast food, do you?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, good.
No, absolutely not.
Because that would be adventurous.
No. No. If I'm really hungry, we go somewhere we know we're going to like. If I'm like, meh, we could try something new, but that's all right.
Okay, well.
So.
Well, Heather Zumwalt is with us, and we're talking about her life's work. Is it a calling?
It is.
To work with large animals called horses.
Yes.
And the children involved with them. So you train children to ride, and you teach horses to carry children.
Correct. I work primarily with 4-H and then what's called OSET, which is Oregon High School Equestrian Team athletes.
Oh, wow.
That's primarily who I work with.
So they do jumping?
Adults. Both of those organizations offer a wide variety of disciplines. They're kind of an all-around. So a lot of these athletes use one horse and do some English, some Western, some trail. They do in-hand stuff.
Okay.
Some of them drive. They do barrels. They rope.
So everything.
It's kind of a variety.
So what is the difference between English riding and Western riding?
English is a more forward seat. So
it's in the saddle?
It's both of them have saddle, 2 different types of saddles, but English is considered a more forward, like you're going hunting. It's what they've used for
fox hunting.
eons. Yes, more of the forward style. Get over the fences. Yes, yes.
Okay.
We've adjusted just a little bit.
Okay.
And then your Western is more. There's 2 kind of variations, but like you're slow, you're quiet, a performance based, and then your rodeo. So
which is all out.
Yeah, which is a whole nother gamut of fun.
Do you have a favorite?
I personally really enjoy the Western performance.
Oh.
So Western pleasure, horsemanship.
Nice.
It's about perfection.
Yep, making the horse stand
It's
still.
Yes, like
Don't flinch or move.
Perfect, and you have to
You have to sit right.
count your feet and all these things. So
Okay, so where does this what is it? What do you learn from life in working with horses? And do you have a good example of a horse that needed some lessons of life?
Oh man, too many, too many. So I started working with horses when I was 8. And from the beginning, I was like, this is it. I can't dribble a basketball to save my life. I do not have depth perception to play soccer, softball. It just was not my thing. And horses have been from day one.
Nice.
And I went through 4-H, learning the basics and the safety of it, and then developed that into the high school equestrian team and was competitive. I'm very competitive. I try not to be, but I am.
When someone says they're very competitive,
Yeah.
you don't want to play Monopoly with them.
Yeah, no, I'm very competitive, especially in the show ring.
Okay. You don't like to lose?
No, I don't.
Awesome.
No, I don't. I can lose.
You can.
And if you beat me fair, I will be the first to shake your hand.
Do you burst into tears?
I usually only burst into tears if I've been wronged.
Oh, yeah.
Or if one of my kids have been wronged.
Oh, that's worse.
I turn mama bear.
Oh, good.
But, and then my horse that I have, when I was a junior in high school, she came around the corner. She's only 5 years old. I started her. She was like my baby.
Yeah.
And she slipped and her back legs split completely in the back end. She did the splits.
Oh, no.
Which is not even remotely close to a natural position for a horse.
No.
And it devastated her. She
Injured her.
She was down. Went through several vets, went through several different types of rehab to try and get her back into show condition. And after about 3 years, basically they said, turn her out to pasture, put her down. Because your horse will never be sound again.
Wow.
Which was devastating.
Yeah, to a kid too.
Yeah, like I was getting ready for my senior year and she was supposed to be my
There's something about a relationship
piece.
With a horse and a young person, isn't there?
Yes.
And girls particularly, is that right?
It can be.
Can be, but guys too.
Yeah, guys too, but more so the girls.
So what happened to this horse?
So I let her rest for a little while, and then I was like, I'm not giving up on her. Like there's no way. There has to be something we can do. And went back at it. Came home from college after my first year out, and I was like, I have to do something.
Yeah.
So I met this wonderful man named Jack, and he's like, well, let's rehab her. I was like, what a concept.
Really?
So at this time I was pregnant with my daughter and going through this rehab with my horse. Wow. And just the amazing ability, because I couldn't ride because I was pregnant.
Right. And
she couldn't be ridden because she's going through rehab. And at the same time going through this life of like, I am 19 years old. I am about to have a baby.
Wow.
Okay, God, like, what are we doing here?
And you're a horse that you use for stability. And
yes, like all of my things.
Yeah.
And so through that process, we rehabilitated her and taught her how to use her body and did body adjustments and stretching and rehabilitation exercises.
Wait a minute. Other people told you she couldn't be rehabbed.
Yep. I went through 6 vets.
6 vets. Either put her down or out to pasture.
Yep.
And who was the guy that showed up and had hope for this horse?
His name's Jack, and God completely, I call him my giant. He is, I don't even know how tall. I cannot wrap my arms around him. And he doesn't ride. He's ridden like maybe once, twice in his life.
What?
But God completely took him and said, this is what you're supposed to do. And he listened and has rehabilitated horses that are just beyond. And through the last 18 years of working with him has helped guide what I do with my horses in showing like, it's okay. Like that's where they're at this time. So let's take what they have. Let's work with their body. Let's teach them how to use their body and then use it for the better.
So he takes lost causes and you take lost causes and...
Yep. And you build a team. And the way that, so Lexi, my horse, finished rehabilitating her. She is going to be 26.
Still alive.
In April.
Whoa.
She has taken at least 3 kids through programs in the competition arena, made it to state levels.
Wow. So she's
of competition.
More than rehab.
Yes.
She's a great horse.
She is a sassy redhead and I love her. But she has she learned how to do it, and we learned how to use the muscle she could use and rehabilitate her.
And she's 26.
She's going to be 26. And I loved the process of seeing something that was completely devastated and taking that and giving the time and the patience and then taking that and turning it around. Because in that I learn every day from my animals, my training horses, my personal horses.
Sure.
They completely teach you. Like, you walk in and you go, wow, I'm really anxious today. And guess what? They're going to be really anxious today.
Do they mirror what you're feeling?
A lot of times. They can mirror that. And some of them don't know how to handle it. So if I walk in and I'm angry and that horse is sensing it, they're going to respond. And some of them will respond with a fight, and some of them will respond with a flight. And taking that and go, whoa, okay, yep, I feel it. Why are you being, they completely know. They can't lie to you. They can't lie. That's the beauty.
Yeah, people will lie to you all day long.
People will.
Horses
and they'll do
won't.
it for so many reasons. And horses won't. They'll just go. And I love that ability to kind of read that.
So I'm afraid of horses. I'm just telling you. I know it's silly. I'm a farmer.
It's okay.
I had a neighbor girl who I wanted to ride her horse, and I got on her horse to try and prove that I could bareback, and she took off running and through the trees.
How'd that work out for you?
Not well.
Yeah,
no,
not well.
No, I'm still scared.
Not well. Okay. Yeah. Let's come ride Roscoe. Roscoe won't do that.
Well, and then I went backpacking and rode a horse through in the mountains on a cliff on a little narrow path, and the backpack guide, who a good friend of mine, who was a referee in wrestling, and he invited me to go, and so I went, and he said, just let the horse do what he does. He's been on this trail.
Yeah.
Don't try to steer him.
No.
And so he knew me. I'm a control freak, and so I was learning from this horse.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Oh, by the way, keep one foot loose in the stirrup in case he goes over the
Just
edge."
in case.
So,
well, we didn't instill the fear in you from the beginning.
And then now relax.
Yeah.
But
1 foot, but just take a breath. You're fine.
so you that's interesting that a horse knows and mirrors how you're feeling. That's probably what really makes the relationship so great.
It can, if you understand it. So I have some rehab horses right now, and one of them, she's this amazing horse. She's off the track, and then she was a polo horse.
Wow.
And it sustained an injury, and so giving her the confidence to use her body again, this horse has taken everything that I have thrown at her. And every day she's like, all right, let's do more. All right, let's do more. All right,
Really?
let's do more. Like, she's ready and she's confident to rehabilitate that. And then integrating the owner into that, and the owner learning, like for me, I see it within half a second. It's second nature to me. But then being able to take that and have that conversation with the owner, like, well, this is why she's doing this, and this is why she's doing this. And they're like, oh, I didn't see that. I'm like,
Wow.
yeah. So that piece of, well, she's really anxious today. And I'm like, how are you feeling? Or like, oh, she's really quiet today. How are you feeling?
Yeah.
And starting to see that piece of it that comes with it.
That's so fascinating.
For it is, it's fun for me to watch that between the owner and the horse do that and how they speak to you.
Wow, there's so much in there.
There is a lot.
So you rehab lost causes. You can obviously see the spiritual implication of all this. I mean, there's just some of us really feel like we're lost causes, or we have sustained injury outside of normal life. We've had wounds or hurts.
Yep.
And it makes us skittish. Is that right?
Absolutely. Guarded.
How many people
gone.
How many people have I talked to, and they'll come into church and sit down and they say, "Okay, I've been to church before, but I don't want to get involved. I just want to keep my space. I'm just going to sit here." And I let them, of course. I said, "Well, yeah, I'm happy to
Just be.
Just be.
Just be.
Yeah. I don't want to force feed them because they've been wounded.
Yep.
People get wounded in all kinds of ways in life, not just church life, but in all kinds of ways in business life and relationships. Yep. So as you work with horses and rehab horses, what's the most important ingredient as you began?
Patience.
Patience.
We want to rehab them, and we want the result now, but it doesn't mean that horse can give it to us now. So the patience to sit and go, what can you give me today? Like, every single day is a new day, and every day we wake up different. Oh. And the animal does too.
Sure.
And so the patience to go, yes, this is the result I want down the road, but that's not what God has in store for me today. So am I going to be patient, which is not my strong suit, to pause and go, what do you have in this moment? What do you have in this ride today, period?
Right.
And that will get us closer to our goal of the rehabilitation and reaching it. But if I try to force that, and that horse doesn't understand what I'm asking, or that rider doesn't understand what I'm asking, you're going to take the 10 steps back. You're going to go back into that shelter, back into that cover.
Oh, man.
And then you're going to have to work even harder to get back out of it.
Wow.
And so that's the biggest thing I've learned through this is you have to be patient through it.
You have to live in the present tense, don't you?
Completely.
And still have a goal.
Completely. Yeah. And that goal is going to look different. I don't work out. You will probably not ever catch me in a gym. My husband works out. My daughter works out. They love it. They go. But I'm like, here's the deal. One day is going to be really hard, and you're going to wake up the next day and you're going to be really sore. Doesn't mean we give up and go, oh, that was really hard. It doesn't mean we back off. It means we adjust. So today, my muscles hurt really bad. So today I'm going to do a lot of stretching today. And this is productive in the long run.
Gotcha.
Towards that end goal of it.
So patience.
It's just patience. If I'm in a hurry, that horse is going to sense I'm in a hurry. If I'm after one goal, that horse is like, I don't know why you're drilling this. I can't give it to you today. And it's the same with working with the youth.
Sure.
Like one of my rules is when you walk in the arena, if you've had a bad day, like you're teenagers, you've had a bad day.
Yeah.
You coming in this arena and having a bad attitude is not going to put us anywhere. So if you're having a bad day, tell me, because I'll adjust it. I'll be patient in reaching the long-term goals.
Boy, that's so cool.
And it's amazing how sometimes they walk in and they're like, I just need to talk. I'm like, cool, let's do it. Like, or I just need to walk. I'm like, cool, let's do it. Like, I'll walk laps with you. Let's figure it out. And that horse and the way that they just take it in and they soak it in and they're like, okay, I'll give back to you what you give. And so by the end, they're laughing and they're happy and they're like, okay, I'm at peace again. And the horse has its head down and they're just relaxed like, yep, I did my job today.
Wow.
I did my job today. It's just such a rewarding aspect of what I do.
Pastoring both the horse and the student and shepherding them along and helping them. So patience, I see that. And so you have a wounded horse that needs rehab, and you have to be patient and you have to take your time. And then you have kids that are wanting to do it too quick. I mean, how many young people are patient?
Not many.
No.
And some are too patient.
It's a big swing.
Like I need a little fire in it. Just a little.
It's easier to slow someone down than to build a fire in them. I know that's for sure. Well, that's cool. What's the name of your business?
R&R Performance Horses.
R&R Performance Horses, and you're located in Alfalfa.
Alfalfa stands for Reward and Respect.
Oh, how'd you come up with that name?
I don't know. I was looking for a name, and I was like, I don't really want it to be my name. It's very typical to have your last name and then that. And I was like, it's just not that what I want. And so I was trying to think of the two things that really kind of give an overall view. Like if you reward someone, usually there's respect there. Wow. And when you give respect, you're usually rewarded. And those are two things that go with
R&R.
R&R Performance Horses, yes.
Oh, Performance Horses.
Yes. I love performance. I love training.
So you buy them and sell them, or you just train them?
Yeah. I typically end up with the geriatric horses that need a lot of love.
From the racetrack, and they have a problem.
Some of that, yep. We got a horse. My uncle called and was like, hey, we found this horse. He was basically left with nobody to care for him. Can you use him? And took him in, and he's been one of the best lesson horses we have.
Really?
He's huge, but he's just this giant puppy.
Oh, nice.
And he just like takes care of his rider, but
so
going through health issues with him and making sure, like, they'll tell you if something's wrong. Taking the time to go, I'm not just going to cover it up. Let's get to the bottom of it.
Horses,
move on.
Horses have such personalities, and they're so unique. It's got to be super difficult when the end of their life has come, and you have to.
Yep, and knowing that when that is.
Yeah.
We've got 2 on the ranch right now, and
how do you know that?
I have people in my life that I have said, you need to be very honest with me that if I'm not doing right by the horse, it's time. And I think establishing those relationships and trusting in those relationships that they can say, hey, we know that this horse means a lot to you.
Right.
It's okay, but now it's time to do right by them. Wow. And there's a couple, and you just check in. Like, we have a really good vet, and I have a really good farrier, and I have my body worker, and I'm like, you can see things because they're my blind spot. They are my blind spot.
Because the relationship is so strong.
The relationship's there, and I want them around forever, and I would keep them around forever.
Of course.
But there's a time to also do right by them. And so
if someone has a horse that's got a wound or just not doing well, and they don't know what to do with it, they could talk to you, and you could make a decision.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, the process.
I bet it is.
There's very rarely a horse that has actual attitude. A lot of time people go, they just have a horrible attitude. Yeah. I'm like, there's been maybe 3 horses that I'm like, that is pure attitude. You are just an attitude animal. And that's okay, because it takes all. A lot of times it's pain driven. So where's the pain coming from?
You have to find that.
And unleashing that.
How do you find that?
It takes time and patience.
Oh, there's that word, patience.
So
again.
One of my favorite rehabs, his name's Dutch, and you saw him at the business conference.
I saw a picture of him.
He was born up in Seattle, and he was allergic to his environment. So he ate his flesh off of the front of his body. From where he was born. And so they shipped him down to Central Oregon. They got him, they got him treated so that he would stop eating his body.
That's some allergy.
It's right. Ugh. That's a lot. And they're like, okay, he's ready to go into training. And so I ended up with him. Well, it turns out he ended up with a whole slew of health issues just from the beginning of that. So as we would take one step forward and going, okay, he's gotten his flesh back, his skin looks good, he's ready to go into training. Well, then he jumped a fence and had stitches and a tube put in. And so then we had to deal with that. And then, he grew. He was huge. He's a huge warm blood. He's meant for jumping. Okay. So he's a big boy to try and handle as a baby. He was a giraffe. He had these legs. They went everywhere. But as we started to heal different things, then things on the inside of his body. So he ended up with massive stomach ulcers. Whoa. But that's not something you can necessarily see from the outside all the time. Sure. And so he would go into biting phases, and he didn't want you anywhere near his stomach. Oh, wow. And so then we had to treat those, and then we thought we treated those. It turns out they were so bad they'd come back in full force. And he
can't tell you.
His only means of communication are his behavior. So I'm like, he's a mouthy horse, but he doesn't intentionally bite you. So when he would come around and try to bite me, I'm like, okay, something's not right today. So figuring out those processes, some horses, it's the way that their feet go. So my daughter's horse, we got him in Idaho. He was a barrel horse who should never have been a barrel horse. And she's been retraining him. And we did some x-rays, and we're like, we're going to change his hoof angle to make him a little more straight, a little more comfortable. Well, 3 months and a lot of vet bills later, it turns out he didn't like the hoof angle. It sent him into full muscle spasms. Oh, wow. Just because we changed 3 millimeters of the way his hoofs go.
Wow.
But it took a lot of deduction to go, okay, well, this is what it is. Fixed it. He's doing great now.
Oh.
So it just,
So
every horse is a little different.
You have to listen to their bodies
Yeah.
and how they react.
Yep.
Not a lot different than humans or raising kids, is it?
Correct. It's amazing how training animals is like raising children. Only it's legal to lock the animals in a stall.
Oh, it is.
Not legal
Not so
to lock
much.
your children in a stall.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Okay,
don't do that.
I'll have to quit that.
But yes, it's a lot.
Well, that's
Paying
such
attention.
a cool thing you're doing. And I know that the ministry impact of it is just lives get changed, horse lives get changed, and so do the children. They learn, and the people who are owners.
Yeah.
I'm particularly struck by the lost causes that you really, it seems to fire you up. Like you're not a lost cause, and you get that competitiveness in you rises. I was like,
It does a little bit. I root for the underdog.
yeah, you root for the underdog. That's so cool, because I think that's what God does for us. I think it's like people will tell you you're a lost cause, and people will say all kinds of things, and we listen to all the wrong voices in the world sometimes, and we just feel discouraged, and maybe we're wounded for right reasons, and I mean things happen, and maybe somebody out there needs to just realize patience.
Patience. It's a journey. Through that, so I've got, I think, 8 or 9 seniors that I'm getting ready to graduate this year.
Wow.
Which is like a whole wrecking ball, but
Yeah.
it's been such a privilege to walk through that journey with them, because some of them, their families don't have the financial means to buy them the top horse. And so taking them and going, I didn't have the top horse. Like it's okay. You still can do this.
Yeah.
Let me teach you how to have that partnership with your horse, that you can go out and you can succeed to the level you want through your hard work and through your perseverance in learning the technique and the skill, not just purchase it and sit on it.
So you have 9 seniors.
Yes.
And they graduate
They will be graduating this
your
spring.
program.
Yep.
So then that's tough.
It is tough.
Yeah.
This year, quite a few of them are actually wanting to move on to college and ride at the collegiate level in different levels,
Sure.
which is really fun. Most of the time, they're like, "Yeah, I finished high school. I'm gonna go do my thing now."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, keep them a part of your life."
Yeah.
But,
send me a card or a letter.
yeah, they come home and ride on the holidays or whatever. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, and the lessons that they learn. By slowing down and going back to some of the basics. And they're like, oh, I never knew that my body was telling my horse this.
Wow.
Or understanding that relationship
That's so
piece.
cool.
And they're starting to get that and click that, and how they also relate it to their personal relationships of, okay, would you approach your horse this way? And they're like, no, my horse would kill me. I'm like, okay, well, here's the thing about humans. They're very similar. And so just watching those life skills develop in setting them up for the future
So
to
cool.
move on.
Well, I've been with Heather Zumwalt on the Bivojo, and it's like listening to her talk about these relationships that are both human and horse, and they both have this eternal investment, patience, and I can't help but think maybe there's somebody out there who's maybe like feeling like a lost cause, or maybe they want to get into animals that nobody else will, and have a heart for some animal that nobody else seems to.
Yeah.
I think there's so many spiritual lessons here that we can learn.
It's also amazing. A while back, one of my family members went missing unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And my husband was trying to comfort me, and he's like, what can I do? What can I do? And I was like, you know what? No. Like, people go, well, I'm going to revert to my last source of praying. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be any good out looking for this person. Like, this is where God's calling me to be. And was on the back of the horse screaming Lauren Daigle at the top of my lungs praying. And it was like, that is where, like, that is the grounding. Like in those moments, just being able to go, okay, where am I supposed to be? And it's like, nope, I'm supposed to be on the back of a horse screaming through that worship, through that praise of, nope, this is how you're calling me to actually be in that situation. And so many times that's been the truth of like, everybody's running here, everybody's doing this is where I'm calling you to be. Whoa. And it, for a long time, like in my process of growing up, that heartstring of like, you're supposed to be around the horses. And it's like, yeah, but I have to have a real job too. It's taking that, what the Holy Spirit is saying, and being like, no, but this is where you're supposed to be. Like, this is where I'm calling you.
Yeah.
And it's not going to look like what other people have, even in the same industry.
Right.
Like, this is where I'm calling you to be. And taking that and going, okay, I'll be obedient in that. And it's just such a beautiful thing to pause with a student and go like, what's going on? Where are you supposed to be right now? And they're like, well, I'm supposed to be here. I'm like, but where are you supposed to be right now? And they're like, well, I'm being called over here.
It's a deeper question.
Yeah. And it's like, well, then let's do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, but that's not normal. Like, I don't care about normal.
You know, I think God doesn't often call us to normal things.
No, but that's the beauty of it, is where is he taking you in your relationship with him? It's not going to look like his relationship with A and relationship with B, because my relationship with different people is different.
Yeah.
Like each one of my relationships with my students is different.
Yeah.
And that's what relationship is. And so him calling you and making that following, it's just so rewarding. It's just so rewarding to watch that develop.
It's cool to hear you talk about it, because I know you're just full inside about what you're doing and how it's going on, and it fills you up.
It does.
And that's awesome to hear you talk. I want to close our podcast by just praying for somebody who might be listening, who just is dealing with this lost cause thing, and maybe we can ask God on their behalf to give them hope. And I don't know, do you feel comfortable praying about it, or do you want?
Absolutely.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
I gotta adjust.
Okay.
Lord, I just thank you for this time. I thank you for the ears that you've put to hear. Lord, I just pray over each person, and each of us are lost in our own way.
Yeah.
Even in the moments that we feel found, we are lost. And I just pray that you speak clarity. I pray that you speak patience. I pray that you speak hope into the person who needs to hear this, each person, Lord. Mm-hmm. Lord, I just pray that you give that still small voice in the moments that we want to be big. I pray that you quiet us to hear your still small voice pulling us in the direction that you have called, regardless of what it looks like to the world. Lord, you've gifted each person with a talent, a calling, and it's our job to listen, but it's also our job to steward and support those who are listening. I pray, Lord, that you would just help the rehab in each of us to continue and work towards your kingdom, Lord.
That's right. Amen. That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you.
And R&R.
R&R.
Respect and
reward. Yep.
Not Ring of Fire.
Not Ring of Fire, although that's probably going to be playing most of the day at the barn now. We'll throw a little Lauren Daigle in there.
Oh, yeah. Lauren Daigle, Ring of Fire.
Go back.
Johnny Cash, Lauren Daigle. There's a lot of
It's like the ADD of music. It's fine.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
The flames went higher, and it burns, burns, burns. The ring of fire, the ring of fire, and it burns, burns, burns.